Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Big East Rewind. I'm Chuck Everson, your host from Villanova University, and my partner, as always, the good doctor, Dr. Sonny Sparrow. How are you, son?
I'm great, Chuck. I'm great. This is one of my favorite people as guests and as a person. He's a blast.
Yeah, and I really got to know him. You know, it's funny if you remember. Now, this guy, will be his third time on the show, and when we met him, he gave us the wrong phone number by one digit. He gave us the wrong email address by two letters. He was like a little bit nervous, antsy and nervous about coming on. And then he got to meet us, Sonny, and guess what? He had a blast, and we've been friends ever since. I've gone down and met him in Jersey several times for social calls and dinner and a couple of adult beverages, at the Elks Lodge, and you'll hear about and you'll hear about that.
The
And
Elks
then
Lodge.
and I've been and he invited my wife and I to go when he got inducted into the Seton Hall Hall of Fame, or Seton Hall Legend thing that they do. I don't know how they figure that out, but Danny invited Kathy and I to go, hang out with him. He got a big suite for his friends and got to meet his family and his friends. His son actually played at Bryant right after my daughter left there, so it was they both played basketball at Bryant, which was kind of cool. And he's been a lot of fun to hang out with, man. The stories are legendary with this guy, really, just like his game was.
Yep.
And he's always got a smile on his face, and he's always fun to be around. So,
Pure
um,
scorer. Just a pure
yeah,
scorer.
yeah, he really is. And an interesting story. He had, I think, 11 brothers and sisters,
Yeah, there was 13 of them total, so I think it was 11 kids and two parents, yeah.
right? And mom and dad were both deaf,
Both
which
deaf,
made for
both
some
immigrants to the
interesting.
country,
Yeah.
right?
So
Both real, I mean,
mom was Irish, father
mom's
was
Irish,
Italian.
dad's heavy Italian. And
Yeah.
can you imagine, that conversation, right? Like she's
Yeah.
got the Irish brogue, he's got the Italian,
Oh man. You know, yeah, it was, I've learned a lot from this guy. He was, he works a lot with kids, and it's great to see because he goes back to a lot of games at the Rock to watch the Seton Hall Pirates play.
Yeah.
Um, he I guess he recruited Shaheen to play at Seton Hall. He was instrumental in getting Shaheen to play there, so they're pretty close friends. And he goes and he brings his CYO teams there. He always brings, like, every year he brings two different teams and they play at halftime, and he does a lot of great things with kids and stuff. So we like that. So he's one of the nicest guys that we've come across since doing this. And I got to tell you, that's one of the best parts about doing this, Sonny, is relationships with guys like Danny played before both of us.
I played
And
1 year against Danny.
did you? I don't even think I did play one
My
year.
freshman year,
Your
we played
freshman year.
against him as a senior in Walsh Gymnasium, that hellhole of a gym.
Yeah.
And fortunately, we got the W, but that's a rough place to play on the road.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's tough. I mean, back then
Unless
all
you
the
want to play Foursquare. Like
arenas
if
were
you want
like
to
that.
play Foursquare, you can find a good spot and, play that. Or
Right.
timeouts or stuff.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's been great catching up with all these guys and developing new relationships with guys that I've never even played against
Right.
before, like Danny and several others, and guys that have come on. And you know, um, again, we mentioned the Georgetown guys, but the Georgetown guys come on, and it's like Mike Graham and I are talking like I just saw him yesterday, and
Mhm.
that's what this is all about. That's what we do here at the Big East Rewind. It's a labor of love and it's a brotherhood, in the conference, Sonny. But it didn't matter where you played. You wore the uniform. The only difference was the color of your uniform,
Yeah.
basically. I mean, at the end of the day, it's pretty cool that, listen, when St. John's or Georgetown or Connecticut play out of the conference, we root for those guys.
Mhm.
when we were playing and when, and long today too. I'm rooting for St. John's to do well in the tournament. I'm rooting for UConn to do well in the tournament, as well as my Wildcats. We'll see what
The
happens.
the East is a brutal bracket.
East, I personally think St. John's got, kind of stiffed a little bit.
No, they
You
got
know,
screwed. St. John's got
they
screwed.
did. I mean, first of all, they beat UConn twice, and they're a 5 seed, and UConn's a 2 seed,
But
and
they
they put them
didn't
in the same bracket.
but they didn't just beat them. They
And
beat
pretty
them
good.
handily.
Yeah. Yeah.
Handily.
Yeah. Not only that, but they got a tough. I mean, if they win their first game, St. John's, they play Kansas, and if they win that, they get to play Duke. So good luck with that, and we're all counting on you. But that all said, that all said,
Striker.
today's guest is one of our faves. We had a lot of fun with this guy as he sat on our couch in Macy's Herald Square and had a lot of laughs with him. The great Danny Calandrillo from Seton Hall joins us
Danny the
right
man.
here on the Big East Rewind.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Macy's Herald Square for the Big East Rewind with Chuck Everson and Sonny Sparrow. Sonny, how you doing?
Doing great,
Been a
man.
long day, but we're doing good, right?
Going a little old school right now. I'm
Little
looking forward to
old
this,
school.
man.
Yeah,
We've
yeah.
had Danny on, and he's
Had
just
Danny
a
on
great guy,
couple
but
times. Yeah.
going old school.
And the original MVP of the
That's
Big
right.
East, the first one.
It's a great trivia question.
And last year was a Big East legend.
Big East
He's always
legend.
been a legend in his own mind, but now he's
Yeah.
a Big East legend.
Now it's legit.
Now it's legit. Now it's legit. And every time we talk, now I'll tell it later when we get started. But so without any further ado, one of my favorite guys. Listen, and this was a guy, Sonny, that I didn't know very well, if at all, until he came on the show, and we had such a good time.
Right.
Now we go out socially, and I go to Jersey just to hang out with him. So there's that.
Good reason
All
to
good
go to
stuff.
Jersey.
That's exactly right.
That's a good one.
So, Seton Hall legend and Big East legend, the great Danny Calandrillo joins us today on the show. How are you, Dan?
Good. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having
Good
me.
to see you, brother.
Of course, of course. So Danny and I get together on one of our many adventures that we've been on together.
Adventures. That's a good word.
Okay.
That's a good word.
And we're talking and we're laughing about stuff. It's amazing. It's funny. You tell me if I'm wrong, Dan, but we laugh like we played on the same team together. Am I right?
Exactly.
So we do. So we're sitting there and we're talking, and he starts telling me down at the NIAC, the New York Athletic Club,
Yeah.
right? He gets together with, who's your squad? Jim Spinarkle, Michael
Spinarkle,
and Mully, right?
Chris played, and Kelly Tripucka.
That's
Who's
kind
beating
of
that? Who's beating
kind of a
that?
loaded squad, don't you
Loaded.
think?
Yeah, it was
And
good
they-
for me.
And he's telling me,
You didn't have to play in defense, did you?
Nah, just shoot and let them do their thing.
That's-
You know?
yeah, and he's telling me, Sonny, that I lit up Gene Smith for 38 points. I called bullshit. I said, "There's no way that's happened." I said, "As a matter of fact, Gene's my guy. I'm calling Gene right now." He goes, "You do that." So I'm calling Gene. Gene's not answering. I text him. I said, "I'm trying to defend your honor. I got Calandrillo here. He says he had 38 on you." So Gene texts me. Gene texts me. He goes, "I'm not calling you because Danny's right. He had at least 38 on me." And that right there is saying something.
That's
This is
right.
Gene Smith.
Gene
he's
Smith,
one of the,
notorious defenders.
so I call Gene. Gene won't pick up the phone. So he just, "Hey Gene, it's Calandrillo. Answer the phone. Take your medicine." So how are you doing, man? What's
Good.
going on?
No, they were great games. Georgetown and Ewing and Mullen. I mean, those were the days.
Yeah,
The
man.
Big East.
Yeah, you're not
Big
kidding.
East.
So you were at the game. How do your Pirates
Good.
look?
I mean, I was just telling you guys that they shot really well today. 40% three, 40 from the field. They played great D. They continued in the second half. It was good to see it. They have the ability. It's just you don't know what team's going to show up. You know.
But don't you see Shaz a bit like his personality and his teams every year?
Oh, I love it.
Right.
You look at Danny Hurley, you look at Shaw, and I had Raftery. Chuck's a little better than Raftery. He'll pick up a check. Raph will never pick up. Chuck knows. Raph will never pick up a check.
It cost you a watch, though, Dan.
Yeah, it cost me a watch. But no, I mean, Shaheen goes after it, and you know what? Hey, you're here to win, and this is it. This is the Big East, so.
I don't think a lot of people appreciate that. They all see Bill Raftery as this lovable uncle commentator, but you knew a different
Oh yeah.
Coach Raftery, right?
When I got recruited there, I was like, well, it seems like a great guy, blah blah blah. But once the season started and then we moved into the Big East, it was lights on. And I was, coached that way, trained that way, so I was used to him. But a lot of the players weren't, and then Hottie took over my senior year, and he was this, a great guy, great coach, X's and O's. But I see a lot of similarity between Shah and Raf. Shah's a little more under control, I think. Because Raf, it was a different time back then.
Yeah, Raph was out of his mind.
It was
back then.
more freestyle.
Yeah,
And he had those crazy suits, the
Yeah,
Lindsey
he had
Nelson suits, right?
He had
those
he
suits, I
made
think, were
Boeheim look good in
reversible,
some of those
reversible suits, leisure suits, right,
It
with
was
the
the
huge
leisure.
collar.
Yeah.
So
He had the plaid down though.
Oh, without a doubt.
I say this though, Sonny,
What?
and like Raph is a throwback because like Mass, he's kept in touch with Danny
Right.
and calls him all the time. They talk about it. Danny always tells me about it, and you can hear in his voice that he has a lot of respect and love for the guy. And he only blew us off once. So, we're trying to get Raph out to Jersey to join us for a meal. Am I right?
Right.
How long have we been calling Raph to come?
I don't know, 2 years maybe?
Right, 2 years. 2 years. So, and Dan, we're going to have to pick up the check. We'll buy Raph dinner.
That's
if you're
gonna
listening,
happen.
Bill, we got you.
Yeah,
all right.
it's gonna happen.
Just
That's a
show
long
up.
way from the recruiting story, him buying you drinks in the front of the bar, right?
Well, that was, again, it was a different time, right? I mean, the one game I do remember was at St. John's with Mullen, and we were losing bad. And then Conaseca took everybody out, and Raph called the timeout, and he was like, let's press him now. I was like, Coach, really? We were down by like 25. We cut it to like 10, and Conaseca went nuts.
Oh,
Yeah, he went crazy. They beat us by 25. That's the legend thing where Raph wrote him a note, and he said, I surrender.
really?
And that was that, yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. So talk about this year's team for a minute. I know you've been to a number of games. You had your CYO teams or whoever you're coaching these days. They come out and play at halftime and stuff. I've been to a few games with you. It's nice sitting in the front row, courtside with you. I appreciate that you doing
Good to
that.
be the king, huh?
It's nice. Listen, almost as many people knew me though. And
Yeah, I gotta- I need that ring he had.
Yeah.
That's right. I'll
Yeah.
trade you for another watch. So we go to these games, and the team. I tell you what, I really was impressed with how they moved the ball and shot the ball. I haven't seen that in a little bit,
Yeah.
especially last year.
Yeah.
Last year was such a down year.
Yeah, last year was tough. No, he's got the right players. I think he went hard to the road. He recruited well. They have some money, right? They don't have a lot of money, but I think that he's got the right players that suit the team. They really come together. David Gabriel, a kid from
Yeah.
high school, he fills me in a lot. They work hard. They work together. And the shame and the problem is, like next year, he goes through these problems, I guess, like everybody.
Right.
10 in, 10 out, 7
Yeah.
in. Yeah, so
Gonna be a new team.
that's
It's
why-
as a coach, you're looking at that and you're going, like I see what happens with the Villanova squad. I watch like a hawk, like you do
Right.
with your team. And sometimes I think they're making substitutions just to keep somebody happy so that they,
Well, that's the
come
world
back,
we live in.
right?
That's the reality of the
Listen,
college basketball now.
Rolly never said, "Hey, Chuck, listen, you haven't played yet. Why don't you go in and get a couple minutes?" That's not how it went.
Yeah,
No.
no. I think somebody talks to them in their ear and says, "Hey, I can get you another $100,000 over here." That definitely happens.
Right.
I talk
Absolutely
to a lot of people.
They were
Yeah.
right while they're
Got
playing.
agents involved, right?
I mean, it's the fact of college basketball.
Yeah.
But I think with Seton Hall, what Shaheen does well, and I'm so happy he got the Coach of the Year. He deserved it.
Oh, 100%.
Biggest turnaround in the country.
You did.
But I think his job now going forward is to really manage to get a guy to stay for a year or two. Hines, he's only a freshman, right? Buddy Clark and Trey Parker, he's only a sophomore. So you got to try to keep these guys.
So
The
we're
challenge,
talking-
though, right? Challenge is, let's say you offer the kid $800,000, but another school comes in. Listen, we're going to pay you $1.5 million. That's just a hard.
Yeah,
hard,
that's- I
that's
guess
just
it's
a hard
reality.
road. That's a
Yeah.
hard road.
It's a tough question to answer.
Because if they stayed with a coach like that, they know he's going to improve, right? They know he's got kids' best interests at heart, and if he's going to make the league, he's going to make the league.
I got to tell you a funny story on that note. Rafa was recruiting me, and he brought all these people over my house, blah, blah, blah. My mother and father, Italian, cooking all this food. My dad was like, hey, who's paying for the electricity here? The food? I go, Dad, it's a college. All he was concerned about was the electricity bill. It's like, but now, it's a different day and age. I mean,
Different.
and I love Shaheen because he makes it work. Last year was really, really tough. And then to come around and be in the semifinals, it's an attribute to him,
Not only Shaheen, but you've upgraded the facilities tremendously.
Beautiful.
I mean, the place is beautiful. All right.
I was there. We had one shower.
Well, you were at Walsh Gym.
Yeah,
I mean,
Walsh was, other teams used to come in. They thought we had a nice locker room. I was like, come on in. It's not,
we have to stand in line to take a shower.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's nuts. Yeah, but I tell you what, they did a nice job. I mean, I haven't seen it in person, just on the social
Yeah, I saw
media
the
stuff.
videos,
But
yeah.
It's nice. I've been.
man,
there a
it's
couple
beautiful.
times. It's beautiful.
It's first class.
Yeah. So you want to compete in the big leagues, you got to have the facilities.
Got to.
Yeah,
I mean, the Rock is a great place for home games.
Oh, it's great.
Right?
it is. And
But
you know
you
what?
got to have an on-campus something.
Something.
Practice
Right.
facility.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's built. The Rock's built for hockey, right? It's for the Devils, basically.
Devils, yeah.
But but it's the perfect size for Seton Hall.
I mean, the last game at St. John's, they had 16, 17,000.
Yeah,
So it works.
yeah, it works, and it gets loud, which is you want a home field, a home court
Yeah,
advantage.
I mean, I think everybody was pretty content about how the year went from last year. Winning NIT, down year, a good year. I think that could be the case for the next couple of years till you get enough money.
I tell you what I think the key is, Dan, is all kidding aside, I think he's got to keep a core group of 4 or 5 guys and build around that. So you have some semblance of a culture and a program.
You're lucky to
That
do
was
it,
Willard told us that, because I got to say thank you. I mean, he didn't come directly through you guys,
Right.
but he was there at
great
Seton
coach.
Hall. Great
Seton Hall
coach,
before
great
Maryland,
guy.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, we're at practice again. We're going to watch. The kids know us. We go know them. It's awesome. But I think he has it right. He said, "Look, I got to keep that guy, and that guy, and then we'll be okay."
That's what I was saying earlier with Buddy Clark and Trey Parker, Hines. You got 3 or 4 guys that
Right.
know the culture. It's tough every year to get 10 new players that come from different schools that have different play styles
Yep.
and different
Yeah.
coaches. Then to come into the Big East where every game is a tough game. So I think Shaw's challenge is to really keep as many guys as he can.
Yeah, it's interesting the dynamics now. It's
It's a different
I came
world.
out
It's a different world.
40 years too late.
How much money, Danny, would you have made on an NIL with the way you scored the ball?
Well,
It had to be millions. You'd have to.
I would have stayed. I would have stayed at Seton Hall. To be honest with you, the money's fine. My parents were all about education.
Yep.
Moving forward, being a good person. My parents were very Catholic, so it was like, hey, if it was something stupid, maybe, but Seton Hall changed my life. It was a great
Yeah.
place. I had great teammates. Met my wife there. 4 boys later, but if we would have had like a couple years into the Big East where Raf could have recruited or whoever was coaching me, it would have been a different story. But we were always over 500 for that little
Yeah.
school at the time to be in the Big East.
Yeah, it's always good. So you mentioned your parents, okay? You come from one of the biggest families I know of. All right, I mean, and it was amazing. And your parents were both deaf, right?
Yeah.
Both my parents, 13 of us, and both my parents were deaf. Yeah.
So, and tell the story because I love this. You've told it on the show once already, but you have to tell the story about you going to school and you had to take a language.
Oh yeah, Raf. I mean, it was bad. I wasn't a great student, but I always projected. Got my degree, but he was like, "Dude, you got to get like 1 class, 3 credits. Take anything. I mean, anything." I said, "Coach, anything?" He's like, "Anything." So I saw sign language. So I went to the teacher. I said, "Hey, when is the final?" She goes, "You got to go to class." I said, "Just tell me when the final is." It was Saturday mornings. So I went the final Saturday, and I sat in the back. Maybe she won't call me, whatever. She's like, "Danny, come on up." So the language was changing at the time. It was getting faster. And I actually, the right hand is dominant in sign language. So I taught myself how to do lefty for basketball. And I got up there and I was reading this little story and I started doing lefty and she's like, "Yo, outside." She's like, what are you, she didn't know what I was saying because it was changing that fast,
Right.
So I said, nah, my parents are deaf, blah, blah, blah. She's like, look, I'll give you an A, but next semester you gotta like come and help me. I said, yeah, yeah, sure. So fast forward, Raph, he's going over everybody's grade, C, C, C. Calandrillo, A. I'm like, thank coach, I'm trying to run out of the office. And he's like, yo, sign language? You're a loser. He's like, I said, coach,
Called you out.
you said whatever. So
Then take a language. You did. Right?
Get
Raph-
eligible.
My mother was from Ireland. My dad was from Italy. But my mother, he really sucked up to my mother because she was Irish.
Oh, right.
And he played the whole role with that. My dad was tough, but he did play the role with my mom.
So let me ask you this, because I think I know you well enough that I can ask you a question like this. You're at the dinner table with your family. I'm not sure if you can get a table big enough for everybody.
Oh, we did. Yeah, we had a couple extra tables on
So,
the side.
so, as we are with all of we're all this way with our parents. There were times where you go, oh, this guy.
Right.
Was there ever a time when you were talking to your brother or sister
always.
with your hand over, like, what
Always.
is he doing? What is he doing?
My brother used to have the beer downstairs in like this apartment we were at, and we had to just like, I'll meet you downstairs.
Okay.
But my dad, because my mom and dad have red lips, so they were.
Oh.
My dad.
So it's like a Seinfeld.
No, I used to get pissed
episode.
off. He would get pissed off if you didn't actually look at him and talk. Well, I would just always go like this, and he would say, "Put everybody's hands down." We had this thing where,
Oh wow.
and we couldn't eat. Italian families, you couldn't eat till your dad ate. Once
Yep.
he ate, then you could eat.
Bread's on the
that
table.
was the deal. So
Wow, that's hardcore.
yeah, it
That's
was hardcore. But you know what? I got to tell you, it saved me because at 9 o'clock, my dad was like, "You got to come home," and everybody was in the schoolyard doing the thing.
Yeah.
And being, deaf, I couldn't get in. He never gave me a key. I never had a key to the apartment. Doors always open. At 9 o'clock, it's locked. So you don't come home at 9 o'clock.
Wow.
You're on your own.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
about
my
that?
friends were like, "Yo," I go, "Dude,
That's a
I'm
hell
not,
of an idea.
That's a great idea, right?
I'm not
wish I would
sleeping
have
in
heard
the
that
hallway."
sooner.
And then what happened was my older brothers and sisters used to come down the hallway and be like knocking. I had to let them in, blah, blah, blah. And my dad used to wake me up 5:30, espresso, who came in late, blah, blah, blah. And
You had to get the rundown.
yeah.
Wow.
I always had to lie, but
You had to, yeah. You don't want to be known as the rat in your
Exactly.
own family.
the
You know,
squealer.
you
Yeah.
can't have that, man. You can't have that. So, give us some of your best Big East memories. Like when you started in the Big East, it was right at the very beginning,
Yeah,
right?
it was
So
80.
80. So, the tournament wasn't here yet at the Garden.
No,
right?
I think the one year we went to Connecticut, then we went to Syracuse, I think the one year,
Yeah.
Yes.
and then ended
Then
in Connecticut.
Villanova
Ended
lost
in-
in a triple
Ended in
overtime
Hartford.
game.
Your
Hartford,
senior was
Hartford.
Hartford. Yeah.
But I got to
It
tell you,
was-
the greatest story is when we played Georgetown and John Doran, Sleepy Floyd, Patrick.
Yeah.
Dude, those teams were. And
Unbelievable.
then I told Ref, why are we going into the Big? What is this thing, the Big East? We're beating Manhattan and Fordham, but Syracuse, Georgetown, Mullen, and then going to the Garden and like playing against Chris Mullen. Then at home we played Georgetown, Villanova.
Yeah.
I had Aaron Howard, the guy 6'8", covering me. Couldn't believe it. Like the teams were so good, and you had to elevate your game. And I trained so hard. We were like really like undersized for that league, but fortunately we came around and we did beat those big name teams. So
Yeah. Aaron Howard was a great defensive
something.
player for Villanova. And he's my buddy. It's his birthday tomorrow, so
Oh,
shout
tell
out
him I
to
said
Aaron
happy
Howard.
birthday.
I
Yeah,
sure
I love
will.
him.
And he was great on the top of that 1-3-1 because he was so
Dude,
long
it
you couldn't
was-
get around
It
him.
was ridiculous, man. It was, and then I was such a bad loser, and then you're at Syracuse, 33,000 throwing oranges at you,
Yeah.
and you couldn't even see the
They
basket.
threw oranges there, Sonny?
Yeah,
I think he might remember.
Reggie's shaking
Yeah.
his head.
I think Reggie might remember.
Reggie's on the side
No,
over
we
here.
were
He's
played.
shaking his
We
head.
played in before. We played in the Carrot. Manly Field.
That was a zoo.
Dude, that was tough.
There was oranges like routine.
We almost beat them that year, but Matty
Did ya?
Pickenich, my best friend, when we played them at home, we beat you guys. Matty hit a shot at the buzzer, but the games were so hard, so competitive. You had to be on your game, and it was really the best competition ever, I think, back then.
Yeah, and you look at some of the guys that have played, and a lot of these guys come back around. The Syracuse guys. You had Sandifer and Tony
Oh,
Red,
great.
and
Oh, great
They
guy.
they Leo. That was
Leo
there.
Rounds. Did I tell you I did
we
a-
had
I-
Pannone and
I did a radio CBS with Leo Rounds. I didn't know he was on the call with me.
Oh,
We
no
did it.
kidding.
And I'm like, I go, who am I going to be on with? I go, Leo Rounds, that mutt, beep, beep, beep. And I didn't know he was on the call. He's like, Danny, because you know what? It was tough. They were so good. You guys were so good. Georgetown, it was a joke. St. John's, I mean, but we wound up, beating them once a year.
yeah.
But think about it. Within 10 years of the Big East, you guys are competing for a national title in '89.
That's right.
And you got probably the worst call ever in a
Yeah.
championship game that
Yeah.
decided the game.
I know.
I saw it again on replay like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, anybody else see how bad this call
I
was?
know.
That was a tough one. That was
That
a
was
tough one
tough.
to swallow.
Yeah. I mean, PJ did a phenomenal job. Every coach that came in, Belaney, I recruited Shaheen. When George Belaney was like, go get this guy. And Shaheen, I never thought he would come here, but he came and, fast forward, he's the coach.
Right.
So that's the way life goes.
Yeah, it's pretty wild when you think about it. The history, the rich history of this conference at its early stages. In the first 6 years, you had Georgetown had already won a championship. We got one. There was 3 teams from the Big East in the
won.
'85
Yeah,
Final
yeah.
Four. You got then in '87 you had Providence in the Final Four. You guys
Syracuse was in the championship.
Syracuse was in the final game.
Yeah,
Then
like
in '89, you guys were in, and it wasn't always the same teams.
Right.
Which was great. It was a lot of parity back
Hey,
then.
from '82 to '89, right? We had 2 national champions, and we had 5 or 6 runner-ups in the national
Right.
championship.
Yeah, right.
That's
Pretty
something
good.
for a young
For-
conference.
I think it'll happen again with Patino and, Willard and Shaheen. I think, I like to see Providence get a big name coach. My son went.
Yeah, I'd like to see that too.
Yeah.
I was a little bit. I was
Like
a
to
little
see
bit
Georgetown
discouraged
get
at
Yeah,
how they
Georgetown.
treated Kim on the way out. I mean, they let him coach.
I know.
That's a rough.
At that
that's a
point,
rough
you
go.
should have just said, "Hey, listen, if you're gonna do it, either wait till the end,
Right.
or
Yeah.
or don't."
Tough
know.
decision to make like that, the way it went down.
How do kids play hard when your coach is gone?
Right. Yep. So
And you're in a no-win situation if he starts winning, right? Then they're like, well, why are we letting him go?
Right.
If he loses, like, well, he gave up on him.
yeah,
So the kids and the coach are in a
I agree.
bad.
Look at Shaheen,
well,
7 wins last year. They could have got rid of him, and now he's in the semifinal.
yeah. I don't think. I'm not saying the coach is blameless, but you got to have players, and you got to be able to pay people.
Yeah.
You get what you pay for. I
Different
guess
time.
exactly,
You got to have money. Like I think Patino said it. You don't have money. They're not recruiting high school guys anymore.
yeah.
You're recruiting, a 4-year guy that's been playing, or
Yeah.
a graduate. Guy's a graduate already. So
Well, the good news is they're not opening the portal during March Madness this year like they did last year.
really,
Thank
It's
God.
open after.
So
Thank
smart.
God, because that was the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Right.
The top
You had
four-
guys leaving in the middle of the tournament. You had
Yeah.
Well, look at Willard. He was rumored to be going to Villanova, and
Right.
everybody was
He got
like, "Is this
blasted.
his last game, or what's good?" It just created a lot of nonsense
right.
for that particular team.
I think it's got to get organized like a corporation. You stay a year or two. Like I worked on Wall Street.
It's got to be like a pro league.
Yeah, like if your performance is great, you get the money. If it's not, you're paying a guy $800,000 and he scores 8 points.
Well,
And these kids are getting slick because a lot of the kids now are doing stuff like this. If they know that they're not having a great year, all right, and the team is just so-so, they'll say, "Hey, I need a mental health break."
Well,
All right. Or, hey, I sprained my ankle. I'm not going to be able to play the rest of the year. And then they want to get paid for the rest of the year,
Wow.
and then go someplace else and take the money for not playing.
that's
So
that's
there's
not
a
right.
lot of stuff behind the scenes that is
Yeah.
just crazy.
I could
So,
never tell Raph, like, hey, my ankle hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good
load
luck
man
with
is-
that.
I mean, I hit the road, kid.
Good luck with that. Right. I know he's that guy. So we ask everybody, Dan, and I don't want to throw you, a
Under the bus.
curveball. I don't want to throw you a curveball. But everybody had the starter jackets back in the day. What is your starter jacket story?
Well, I was a Knick fan from day one, man. It was Knicks. I was a huge Knick fan.
So you got your Knicks jacket was your start.
Knicks on the radio with when the '69 team, the '72
Yeah.
team. That was it.
Yeah.
We were, right across the bridge in Hoboken, North Bergen. So it was New York. It was the Knicks. That was it. Giants and the Knicks.
Well,
the starter jacket.
Listen, we appreciate you taking time. I know you
Thanks,
were at
brother.
the games this morning and this afternoon and got to see your
Anytime.
team play. And
Anytime
luck
for you.
coming
tomorrow.
out.
You guys are the best.
So, yeah, we appreciate you, man.
Yeah,
Thank you for
yeah,
coming
you're
out.
welcome.
And
Good luck with Villanova.
we'll see you-
Syracuse. How are they doing? What's the deal with them?
What's that?
Are they
Syracuse just let their coach go yesterday.
Really?
Yesterday morning.
Autry's gone, yeah.
Wow.
So now they're in the hunt, and I've heard a million different names. And
Wow.
do they stay inside the
Do you
Boeheim
stay?
family?
Yeah. Do you stay in the
Wow.
Boeheim thing, or do you go outside? You know.
Yeah. Right.
You go outside. I mean, this was the first time we've gone outside the group
right.
when we got Willard, but
Willard's great.
so far so good.
right.
That was a
Nobody's
good move.
complaining. Nobody's
yeah,
complaining.
no, I'm
so,
happy. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
It's amazing
So
when
far,
you
so
win.
good.
Yeah.
So-
Really.
All right. Well, thanks again,
Thanks,
pal.
man.
I will see you down the road. We'll definitely stop and get dinner before you have your procedure, and we'll
yeah.
figure it out. Okay.
See you in Redmond.
And we'll see if we can get Raph to show up.
I got to call him tonight.
We'll see you at the what's the place that we went?
The Elks.
The Elks. See you at the Elks Lodge, buddy. Dan Calandrillo from
That's to help
Seton
me out.
Hall. Thanks for joining us, pal.